we're going to talk about one of my most effective ways to let myself get rid of sentimental clutter. It's never easy, but this is one of the ways that I have been able to make it easier on me. I'm Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com. I'm also the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life, which is available wherever books are sold, Audible, Kindle, whatever. I have always struggled with clutter. I am the person who clutter just seemed to appear in my house. And I've had to find ways to break through my attachment to things, okay? So I have a step-by-step process that removes the emotions, and yet sometimes there are certain items that it just honestly feels like my heart is being ripped out to get rid of it. So I'm gonna tell you the story of something I've gotten rid of in the last, I think it's been about a week and a half ago, but how I'm doing that. So I have this blanket that I have had basically on my bed and using it, washing it of course, but using it for 21 years. I bought it when I was single, when I lived overseas. I lived in a tropical climate in Thailand, and I love this comforter. So it represents a certain time in my life, but it also is just the most comfortable, lovely, soft, cool thing. It's a comforter, so it has that coziness of a comforter. That's like a fluffy blanket kind of thing. But it's so lightweight, I'm assuming because, it was meant for Thailand. Anyway, and I have loved that thing. And I have honestly just kind of held my breath and said, I hope it never disintegrates, because I just loved it so much, okay? And I would put it under another blanket, whatever. So it wasn't the one that was obvious, but I love that thing. That was my favorite thing to curl up in. But after 21 years, it started falling apart, Like all of the edging had completely just gone away. And then one night, about a month ago, it wasn't soft and cuddly anymore. My foot basically hit the batting that was on the inside, okay? Like it had completely and totally separated into two pieces and come apart. So of course, my first thought is, can I sew this back together? But I mean, the fabric was just so worn thin at that point. So I needed to get rid of this thing. And yeah, I mean, it was as obvious as it could possibly be that it was time for this thing to go. I mean, like, it was done. It had served its purpose. It's over. I mean, come on. This is done. And yet it just hurt. It hurt because I was like, no, I'll never be able to replace it. No. But I did the thing that I have found to be extremely useful when I'm decluttering something like that. And that is, how can I use it in a new way that will let me somehow emotionally get rid of it, okay? What I mean by that is, I realized, okay, as I was leaving it on my bed and just kind of crying and then getting irritated at night when it wasn't comforting anymore, because it was scratchy, because I kept, no matter how I adjusted it, I still kept running into that scratchy part. Anyway, as I did that, I realized, oh, my dogs need new bedding in their crate. And I thought this would be perfect for them. And so I thought about it a while, and then I went and I got my scissors and I cut, so it was a king size thing, I think, which I never even had a king size bed, but whatever. I cut like a quarter of it and folded that up for my little bitty dog's crate. And then I took the other 3/4 and folded that up and put it in my new humongous puppies crate. And now it's being reused in a different way. So I'm keeping it. Yes, technically it has not left my house. However, this is different from stuff shifting, okay? Stuff shifting is just, well, I'm gonna stick it over here to hope that somehow it won't be clutter over there, okay? That's stuff shifting. Decluttering is stuff leaving my house. But there is no longer a blanket in my house. Now it's dog bedding. I know, it's like a weird way to look at things, but it's now dog bedding. It has a new purpose, and this new purpose, because I needed it for something else and I love my dogs, I'm like, oh, that's a good purpose for that item. Okay, I'm willing to let it go for that. And already my attachment to that comforter is completely different. Like, I can already tell you that when it is no longer fit to be dog bedding, I'm not gonna have any problem throwing it away. Because guess what? I'm not showing it to you right now because it's dog bedding, and I'm not gonna pick up and snuggle with dog bedding. I'm sorry. I love my dogs. Not like that though, okay? So it has changed its identity. So I'm still, it somehow let me let it go, but it has a different identity now that then is working its way to being something I'm willing to just get rid of with no attachment. So other examples of things that I've done this with is my kids had burp cloths that were like the designer kind with their names and the cute little fabrics and things like that. I loved those things. And when it came time to get rid of baby stuff, those things were very personal. And it was like, I can't get rid of these, but I also didn't need to have a big box full of burp cloths when my kids don't need burp cloths anymore. And so I made this conscious decision, even though it hurt. I was like, okay, I can't get rid of it because I just can't. I'm paralyzed from doing that. But at the same time, it makes absolutely no sense to keep it. How can I use it differently? Well, I just used them for cleaning rags. And then I would wipe something down and I would go, oh, this is so sweet. But guess what? Over time of using it for this new purpose, my attachment lessened to this item. Does that make sense? So even though before, when it was just a burp cloth, it was my baby's burp cloth. And now, well, it's a rag. It's a cleaning rag. Oh yeah, that's right. It was a burp cloth. That's so sweet. But by the time it was time to get rid of those cleaning rags that were, nasty now, that attachment was gone because it had a different identity and it wasn't the same item. So it's kind of like a transitional time between the identity of this item that I'm so attached to, and then it turns into this other item that lets me not have it just in storage and I'm paralyzed from getting rid of it now. So it's being used in a way that then changes its identity and then allows me to not have attachment issues when that is used up, okay? Other ways, like we had a bunch of little sentimental collector's glasses and things, meaning like, drinking cups, stuff like that. And we just made a conscious decision to just use them because we, had gone through storage boxes that had multiple of those kinds of cups in them, collector's cups with like a team name printed on it or some kind of fun whatever. And my husband and I, we just said, okay, we're just gonna use them. All right, and if I'm not willing to drink out of it, then I'm gonna get rid of it anyway. But if this is something that we can possibly use, we're just gonna go ahead and use it. And then as we did that, when it came time to accept the reality of the space of my kitchen cabinet, which is the container concept, which is in here, when it came time to get rid of some glasses, my view of those items had changed. It was no longer this sentimental item. It was just, oh, you know what? That's that cup that I don't actually like drinking out of. And so I got rid of it. Okay, so using something until I use it up, whether it's using it for its actual purpose instead of just having it sit in a cabinet somewhere like the glasses, or whether it's this has no purpose in my home now, is there some other purpose that it could have so that I can then get rid of that? I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I would love to hear from you how you've repurposed things in your home that has then somehow allowed you, and if that has somehow allowed you to lessen your attachment issues to that, okay? I hear lots of neat stories from people and I would love to hear those from you in the comments. So anyway, I have a step-by-step process that like I mentioned here in Decluttering at the Speed of Life, that will take you through things, that takes the emotions out of it. But I want to make sure that you understand the reason I have to take emotions out of my process is that I have those emotions, okay? It's not because I'm like, oh, clutter, ugh, girl, get it out of here. No, it's because I see it and I go, well, I have all the reasons in the world why I want to keep this. And I have to break through that. I have to work through that. So I hope this was helpful. And I will talk to you guys next week, hopefully. We'll see.